Hi guys, it's me, Javier. I really hope you're doing well today, and I hope you can follow me in today's lesson, which is expressing the future. We are going to see how to talk about the future. We are going to see six tenses. We have already seen one of them, which is the present continuous, the present progressive. We are going to talk about going to, will. Um, these three ones are into the future simple, and we are going to see also the future perfect, the future continuous, and the future perfect continuous. This video will be extensive because we will cover lots of things, but I really hope you can understand everything by the end of this video. So let's start first by the present continuous. As you know, but to remember, the present continuous is formed by first subject, then the verb to be, and finally the present participle of a verb. We use the present continuous to express the future. We use it when we, for example, have a date or a meeting, when we have an appointment, or we when we have already written down something in our agenda. So we use the present continuous when something is about to start. For example, I am meeting her for a conference later. I am meeting Jane tonight. Here, as I said, we are using the present continuous because we have a meeting, we have something um, to do later, we have an appointment, we are meeting, in this case, someone. So the time expressions or time markers, which are later and tonight, are referring to the future. I am taking my dog for a walk after class. In this case, it is not a meeting, it is not a date, but it might be that we have written down this in our agenda. Now, be plus going to, as you can see, here is the structure already. So I just have to say that we use it for existing plans, for actions that are about to happen in this moment. For example, we could say that we use it when an action is imminent, for imminent actions, because of the context. For example, we'd like to live in a different place. We are going to sell our house. It is an existing plan, because of the context we are using going to, because we decided this. I am going to clean my house next weekend. This computer is too old, so I am going to buy a new one. Again, because of the context, it will be an imminent action. I am going to buy a new one because this computer is too old. Those clouds are really dark. It is going to rain. Here, again, because of the context, because of what we are sure it is going to happen, we are using going to. Now we have will, whose structure is will plus base form of the verb. It is kind of a synonym of going to. They both are really related, but the difference is the certainty. We use will for more certainty. Also, we use will when we are saying prediction. We use it for predictions and for spontaneous decisions. We use will when we decide something at the moment. For example, I will do my homework tomorrow. It will rain in London tomorrow. In this case, this one is a prediction. The phone is ringing. I'll answer it. In this case, it is something that we are deciding at that moment. And I love this dress, so I'll buy it. Again, a spontaneous decision because of because of the context. I love it. I love the dress, so I will buy it. Now we have the future continuous, whose structure is will be, always will be, plus the present participle of a verb. We use the future continuous when referring to an unfinished action or event that will be in progress at a time later than now, again expressing the future. For example, I will be working on the office later. I will be working on the office. I won't be here at 12 o'clock because I will be walking the dog. In this case, we are referring to the future. We are referring to an action that will be in progress, not now, but later. She will be making dinner while he is playing chess. In this case, two parallel actions. While someone is doing something, another one will be doing another. And finally, will you be working tomorrow? Will you be working tomorrow? In this case, we have in fact a time expression, a time marker, which is tomorrow, indicating the future, an action that will be in progress later than now. We have the future perfect as well, whose structure is will have. Again, will have always together, plus the past participle of a verb. In this case, we use the future perfect to refer to a completed action in the future, which is commonly or usually defined by a time expression or a time marker if you want. For example, by the time you graduate from the CBA, you will have finished. You will have finished by the time you graduate from the CBA. In this case, we have the time expression. We see that it is by the time. And it is indicated, we could say, parallel actions because by the time something is done, another one will have be will be done. When you get a job, I will have worked at the university for 20 years. Again, the time expression here is when. Um, in this case, this action will be finished by the time um, another one happens. When you get a job, I will have worked at the university for 20 years. They will have painted the house by the time you arrive. Again, the time expression by the time. And finally, by Louis' birthday, Paul won't have graduated. This case is a negative sentence, a negative um, action. By Louis' birthday, Paul won't have graduated yet. We can, in fact, use yet, which is time marker. And finally, the future perfect continuous, which is kind of difficult to use. It is not um, common to use it in the spoken English. We could say that it is really uh, formal. We use it in formal situations more commonly. And the structure is will have been, always together. Will have been plus the present participle of a verb. And in this case, we use the perfect continuous um, when we want to refer to events or actions that are currently unfinished, but will be finished at some future uh, time. In this case, we can use or we use also the time expressions or time markers. For example, by June, I have been driving my new car for a year. We are indicating that this action will be finished. In this case, by June, we are expressing the future time. By next years, or if you want, by the next year, you will have been working at the newspaper for 5 years. It is really important to use um, to for. It is really special or important to use for when we want to use the future perfect continuous, because it really makes things easier to realize that we are using it in a good way. For example, they will have been driving their old car for 8 years by then. In this case, both time markers or time expressions are used together. Finally, again, Linda will have been saving for 2 years by 2024. Or if you want, by 2024, Linda will have been saving for 2 years. An action that it currently um, is not finished, but will be at some future time. And that would be um, I really appreciate that you pay attention. So thank you so much, and see you in the next lesson in the next video.